Dai, it's Wasps' 100th game in Europe. Ironically, you're the only survivor of the first one, but you were playing for Cardiff at Loftus Road. Can you remember much about that?
Yeah, I can remember quite a bit. Obviously, my first game back in Union, really. I'd been to the league for 7.5 years, so it was my first game back. And really, ironically as well, and I was playing against my best mate, Mike Griffiths. So obviously we had a bit of a chuckle in the week leading up to it, because obviously been quite nervous to be my first game back and then to play against your best mate. Obviously we weren't mates when we were playing against each other on that day, but my best mate, and we laugh about it now really. I remember it being a real tight game. I remember it being a pretty good atmosphere. I remember obviously either team could have won, and we sneaked it right at the end with a drop goal by Jonathan Davis, who lived off that for a couple of months after.
Rob Howley scored 2 tries. So he wasn't terribly popular with Wasps fans at the time, but 7 years later he redeemed himself.
Yeah, obviously, Rob was a big favourite at Cardiff, and he'd done a great job at Cardiff, and obviously, he came up here and finished his career off at Wasps and won the Heineken Cup and scored a great try to win the Heineken Cup. So he speaks of Wasps with fond memories, and he was certainly somebody that I spoke to regards Wasps before I actually signed, and he only spoke highly of the club and the people around the club.
In those early days, certainly from a supporter's point of view, I seem to remember that we just thought these European games were okay, a bit of fun. We could never have envisaged that they'd become the tournament that they now are.
Well, certainly it's the yardstick that everybody wants to be measured on now. It's certainly the big teams, and when it started off, as you said, I think everybody was a little bit. Is this going to last? Is this going to take off? I think for a number of years we had, with the English teams going to be in it, with the French teams going to be in it.
Yeah, because they weren't in the first year, were they? And Cardiff got to the final.
So it was always a case of whether this was really going to take off, because there was a lot of self-interest with certain countries' leagues and so on. But it is a real quality vehicle now, and it's a vehicle that all players want to play in, and all the supporters really pick the interest up. And I think even if you're not a real genuine rugby fan, I think most people will watch internationals and watch Heineken Cup. So it's really caught the imagination. It's really built in season on season, and it's a real quality tournament now.
Well, 15 years and a bit on from that first ever game. It's 100 up on Thursday against Bayonne. Let's look back at number 99. There were moments in the first half where I thought it was going to be a very, very long night.
Yeah, I think when you look at their team, to be honest, I think TLR probably cost more than our whole pack. So there are a lot of world-class stars there, and they were looking dangerous for parts of that game. But I think on a whole, we probably outplayed them. I think we had some real clear opportunities and we didn't take them. I don't think we had many hugely problem areas which we had to patch up this week. We're playing as quality opposition, so they're going to create opportunities, they're going to have chances. But I think our defence was quite solid for most of the night. The set piece was quite good, and we created opportunities. So as a team, I was quite pleased, how we performed. So our performance was okay, but the result, is something you look back and you say, well, that's when I got away, really. Especially the bonus point. I think, to come away, I think we could have won the game. We probably had more clear-cut opportunities than they did. But in saying that, to come away with nothing was hugely disappointing. But it won't matter as long as we win at home and we get the right result and they go away with nothing.
If they do go away with nothing, that really puts us back in pole position, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And I said to the players before the last game, it'd be something for us to get out of this group. I think everyone looked at the group at the start, and it was a tough. It is a tough group. 2 French teams, always difficult to go to France and get anything. So it's a tough group, and one thing we've got to be cautious, because I think they'll come. They got world stars that played everywhere, so they're not going to be phased about coming to Adams Park. They'll be confident they can come here and win. So we've got to expect a better Bayonne this week, and we've got to expect to be better ourselves.
With the benefit of hindsight, maybe the week they changed their coaches wasn't the best time to play them, because it's a time when players really want to impress the new management, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it can be a bit of a weakness as well. It can be a strength and a weakness. Obviously, they want to impress the new guy, but in saying that as well, confidence and belief can't be that high. And we felt, long as we did be in the game for 60, 70 minutes, they'll start questioning themselves, because things haven't gone totally to plan for them. But as I say, you know, that's when I got away. This week we've got to win, quite simply. You know, we lose this game and, you know, we're out. We realise that, so it's a must-win game. And these are games that you're used to playing in Europe. You know these games are paramount, and if you want to qualify, if you want to get through to the latter stages, you've got to win your own games.
Looks like it could be another storm-tossed night if the weather forecasts are anything to go by.
Yeah, as I said, you know, the forecast isn't great, but you know, we'd expect them to kick quite a bit to us. You know, they got a really strong kick in 10, so we expect them to play field position and kick the ball to us. You know, and hopefully we don't give them the platforms in their half, because if we give them driving lineouts, if we give them scrums, if we give them kicking opportunities, you know, it could be a long night for us. But, you know, this is a game we've got to go out and win. I think, you know, we can't sit back and see what they've got. We've got to go out and win this. We've got to be bold and go out and win the game.